So we're going to record these. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. Yeah, Claire, I cannot hear you. You can hear us. Hello, Dr. Cohn.
Dr. Brian?
Yeah, those are both really true.
Yeah.
Hello, Jim. Hey, Leon.
Terry Sanford Smith.
Jimmy Cohn.
Yeah.
Grant.
Yes.
And Marley the dog tells you hi.
That's great.
Dogs are always glad to see me. Most of them.
Yeah.
That's great. All righty. Well, this is our first one of these, so we have no idea how many people are coming in. I'm thinking 12 to 15. That was my guess. Oh, Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir. Jeff.
Oh, we'll do this.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing better. Me just I have been kind of sicky this month, but I think we're finally kind of back to mostly normal. We still have some remnants of drainage and cough, but we're back at work and we're making it.
Did you enjoy your 2 days off?
Yes, we did.
Good. Well, so were you able to go today and yesterday? Well,
yeah.
Who's talking,
cold weather.
I don't know. This is brand.
It's been very cool. Today we finally got back up into the 60s.
Right.
Very good.
That's good. Is your house warm?
It is. It's a little cold in the mornings getting out of bed, but it's good.
Well,
We don't have any issues with pipes or anything.
oh, that's good.
City aside.
It's
Okay.
still going.
It's
All right.
been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we don't have a lot of time left.
Well, so you're not looking for things to do. You have plenty to do without having to look up anything.
There you go.
I think
Oh, Michael, yeah.
what I have for them.
Well, that's great. Well, is the principal doing any better?
Not really, but didn't have for today because
Conversation going.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, there's a conversation. I'm trying to figure out who's talking. Exactly. Because they
They in
can't
our
see
group, are
nothing.
we hearing things?
That's probably true.
they
Another conversation.
like
So it's 1 minute after 7. Let's go ahead and start. Maybe some other people will join us. So thanks for joining in. Some of us who've been involved with, all of us here have been involved with Landon through many years. And from time to time, we'd all have conversations with him. Some people like Hawk would talk to him so often, and many of us would see him every few years, or sometimes would make a trek up to Vermont or whatever it was, cross our paths. And I came away, and I think all of you did, feeling a bit inspired, thinking about deep things, sometimes comforted, sometimes concerned, but it was always nourishing to my soul. And the intent of this is this year we're going to try and have conversations every month with people who are friends of Landon. And some of the conversations that we've had with him, we can have with each other. And we're going to share some of that, because the themes that Landon lived for and the things he believed in are bigger than just him. So we're going to do that. And the first 3 months, we're going to start really, but let me say first, I want to thank Tim and Luxury, Tim Minix, for organizing this, and Luxury, his assistant, for making this possible. Thanks for the mechanics. And what we're going to do in the first couple, we're going to let you know some of the things that have been going on with the Heartbeat team, and the real specifically. And we're going to try and take 30 minutes. If we go a little past that, we won't go past 45, but feel free to leave whenever you want. And then what we're going to do with this is the first 3 times we're going to have somebody groups talk about what's going on. Today, Eric Fletcher will be the guy. Eric Fletcher will start this off. We'll talk about that. A number of people, some people on this screen have been working hard to make things possible. We're taking the resources Landon's had and we're trying to make those more available than they've ever been before. And in my opinion, more access to Landon's materials has become possible in the last year than the previous 5 or 10 years. And only because Landon wasn't here to tell us no, so he couldn't stop us, so we just did it. And next month, the team from the Saunders Center at ACU, you see James Weiser on here, Claire Davidson Frederick's going to be on here, Richard Beck, the fellow of the center, is going to be here, and they're going to talk about some of the wonderful things that are happening there that Landon helped kind of direct and inspire and set a foundation for that's happening. And then the third month, we're going to have Dr. Ross Cochran from Harding, who's been spending most of the last year working on developing curriculum to train people to do what Landon did. And Landon handpicked Ross to do this project, so that's a good thing. And then the next month, April, we got this. We're actually working. We're planning. It's something called planning. And Mike Cope's going to be with us. And Mike and I, that month, we're just going to have a conversation. And the rest of the year, it's not going to be about things we're doing. We're just going to have conversations talking about Landon things. And that's the thing we want to. And some of you will probably be part of that. So tonight, again, we're 4 minutes into it. I'm going to try and get us going with Eric. And I'm going to just dive right into this if it's okay. Any questions at first? Anybody have any questions or anything generally? Does that all make sense? So Eric, most people know because you have been in most of these homes that you're looking at probably, but why don't you just tell us, when did you meet Landon? And just kind of a 1 minute, what's your relationship with Ben Landon since then? Wait, you're on mute, buddy.
How about now?
Perfect.
You'd think I'd know how to do this. I met Landon in, I think, 69 or 70
Will he be able to get up a week or so?
in Rochester, Michigan. He was speaking up there in that area doing something. And I was, of course, taken with him. And we had connections because my granddad was an elder at the Highland Church in Abilene who had either just hired or was in the process of talking to Landon about coming and joining Highland and starting Heartbeat. And that connection really just blossomed into, by the time I made it to Abilene, Heartbeat was underway, and I hung around ever since.
Yeah, you have. And you were on the Heartbeat staff for a number of years. You've been a friend of Landon.
Yep.
You've heard him talk, I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah.
And if you ever heard the radio spots, when you heard somebody say, "This is Heartbeat," you heard Eric Fletcher. So, I mean, he's been the guy that made a lot of this happen. And as Heartbeat has started, most of you have been to the website. You started to see some stuff that is really Eric. I mean, other people have produced content, but Eric has been the mule that has driven the wagon train, if I can give him a high compliment, because without that, nothing happens. But it's unbelievable what he's done. So, Eric, I think Luxury or Tim's going to give you the ability to take the screen.
Yep.
And if you would, I think first, why don't you just kind of start? Does it make sense to walk through the website? We want to kind of just let people know where they can access it and how they get to it. And you should have gotten an email yesterday that would have had some information on this, but there you go, Eric.
Everybody see my screen okay? See the website?
Mhm.
Okay, so the charge really that Landon gave us for Heartbeat 2.0 was the first charge was to go back through 50 years of content, 50 years of material, and find ways to repackage where necessary, to repurpose, find ways to make that material available. Brant mentioned that in the last year, really a large amount of heartbeat created material has been made available, maybe on a broad scale, really worldwide, maybe more than any time in the past. And the website is really your hub for all things thus far related to Heartbeat 2.0. That will evolve we believe that will evolve in future months. But for now, this is where you go to find out what's going on with Heartbeat, to find out new news, to find out updates on events. For example, I believe we'll start posting reminders about this gathering, but any events that are relevant and other things that are taking place. The website, unlike the website's really not designed to be a brochure. Uh, in cyberspace, it changes on a really regular basis. At a minimum, it's updated once a week. We update it with where things started. In the beginning, there was a radio program, and that really, the radio program gave rise or instigated everything that followed in as Landon began to map out his vision for what Heartbeat could do. So this spot is where you'll find a radio spot of the week. By the way, I want to mention after our time together today, we're going to cover a lot of stuff. We've created a booklet, a brochure, if you will, a guide, a reference guide that covers everything and probably a little bit more than what we'll get to tonight. Included in what we'll talk about are suggestions for ways you might think about accessing tools like the radio program, really anything on the website, and making use of it in your own life, with your family, with your colleagues, with your friends, in your church family, how you might find ways to use it. And these are just what you'll find in the guide is really only a beginning point, a suggestion point. But we encourage you to be creative, figure out ways that these tools can help you as you attempt to reach out and work with people that,
Eric,
that you're connected to.
Eric, I think it's important to say, just to emphasize that what's being created here, the intention and is not just for our own personal study and just not for our own personal feel good. It really is all being designed we're learning, but to give people tools to use in their lives in the ways that they would have if they were in Lowell or Pittsfield back in the day or some other place in Vancouver, et cetera. And we're trying to
Absolutely
equip, and it's in process. I think that's fair to say, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think if you begin to think creatively about ways you can, for example, the radio programs, you can download every one of these. You can use them if you have a website, access to a website, a company site, a church site, a personal site, whatever. If you can upload them to your site if you'd like to, you can email they're they're certainly textable files. Depending on your email program, you might have a little difficulty emailing them. But the idea is to make this content available on as broad a scale as possible. And the way we make that happen is by coming back to you, the people that really helped create it all in the first place, and encourage you to think creatively and begin to use the material. So there's a radio spot that's posted every week. If you go up here to the radio page, you'll find however many there are, 50 or plus. These are all individual radio spots that have been uploaded. You can download every one of them. You can use them to your heart's content. So radio's where it began. That was about reaching out, creating some visibility, serving, really communicating with an audience that had up until the 70s, in the 70s. In fact, Heartbeat was the first quote unquote religious broadcast to be aired in prime time on the CBS radio network or NBC. Michael, which was it? It was one of those two networks. And
CBS, yeah.
CBS. And the program was designed to connect with a group that had largely been ignored by faith-based programming, the non-religious, quote unquote, individuals. That's where it began. But of course, it moved quickly beyond that and moved to reaching out. How do we build stronger relationships? How do we stay with people? How do we continue to nurture them? How do we build relationships really that endure? And so going from left to right, these are from right to left, going backwards. Some of these are brand new materials. The email Jumpstart is a program really that Landon, the weekly email, I've forgotten now what it was called, but the weekly email, Landon did that for a number of years. We've gone back into his files, are repurposing, recreating, designing, modifying where it's appropriate, that content. And that is a weekly email that lands in inboxes on Monday. And again, if you're not subscribed to that, I encourage you to use this little button down here and subscribe. If you don't get it, I bet everybody on this call does already. But
and again,
share that.
Share that with other people. That's
Yeah.
the here is
Yeah.
that you
Yep.
ask your friends at work, you share it with your company. It's things that are designed to be shared and create good discussion. Is to help us focus on good things.
You've seen a lot of this material before. You've heard a lot of this material before. We want to make it accessible, easy for you to share and use in whatever way you see fit. So the weekly email is one. Landon now has a presence. Every time I talk about social media, I'm a little bit reminded of the line from Jesus Christ Superstar that goes something like, "Why'd you choose to come when you came?" Uh, 30 BC had no mass communication. Who knows what could have happened, what might have happened if social media had been around. But now there's a presence, and it's repurposing a lot of this weekly email content, but not only the email content, radio content. A lot of content is creating three posts a week on both Instagram and Facebook. And then the first thing that we did, apart from dive into the website, was dive into content and begin to think about how to put together a podcast. It's a podcast-driven media universe these days. And so Landon's now on, there are 28, I think, podcasts in the can. You can access these podcasts either by clicking this link on the website or wherever you get, if you're a podcast user, a consumer, This Is Heartbeat, search for This Is Heartbeat wherever you get your podcast, on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get them, it should be available. And if it's not, let us know and we'll follow up. But easy to find.
And I'll just mention this, the other place, there is another place where people can get resources from Landon, and that's from the archives at the Brown Library at ACU. And next week we'll hear more about all of that from the team there at the Saunders Center. But at that site, and they'll tell you next week about this, it's amazing. Hundreds of people are downloading Landon's talks every week. And apparently they're using them in church settings and other group settings. So there are some people using this extensively out there. But this is a place that's easy for all of you to get that same type of material.
Yeah, and the one distinction, Brant, that I'll draw is virtually all of this content today on this site is designed for you to be able to share and be comfortable sharing with anybody,
That's
regardless of whether, regardless of where they might be in a faith journey or
That's
with
right.
a religious group. And so dive into this. But the same as there is a wealth of information, a material that's going to be available. That's available through the Saunders Center. All of this will be there, along with a bunch of other content. Landon's best known sermons, the film series. And by the way, those we believe we're going to find a way to incorporate into a site that is either a page that's either on this site or that feeds to this site. So there you have three of the big pieces, well, four, if you count the website, which is really your resource. This is for you. I hope you'll feel comfortable visiting frequently. If you have ideas, let us know. But this is designed to make materials available for you. The most recent um, entry into the new materials category is, and the one we're really excited about, is a growth out of once radio is designed to create visibility in a community. Once that was done, there was the community workshop followed. The community workshop was Landon coming into a community and speaking for 3 nights on topics to the audience that had grown to know him only really through the radio program. And again, most of you all know all of this already. This is old news. The workshop was followed by a study tool. And the app, the Heartbeat app, is the place where we envision housing various study materials that were originally designed as pieces that followed workshops. Pardon me. The first entry into the app is what's called 6 breakthroughs. The 6 breakthroughs that make all the difference. And I'll ask Jeff Moore and Michael Hawkins to speak a little bit to this. This was a revising, and then repackaging in this app format, a 6-lesson course that focuses on breakthroughs that make all the difference. You guys, Mike or Jeff, you want to chime in and say anything about the app or the course?
Jeff,
I'll
why
leave
don't
it-
you go first? Yeah,
I'll
Jeff,
tell
you
you
go
this.
first.
Well, this course was based on the original course of human events, which was given out, I think, at the Feeling Good About Yourself workshops on the third night is that correct, Eric? I believe that's right.
Yeah, it was.
And so we took the material that has been used and was used very successfully. I think you got up to about 50% of people in workshops going into groups that followed this material. And originally the material had cassette tapes of Landon. Uh, uh, and then there was a workbook that followed the cassette tape. So people would listen to the cassette tape, then they would get together in groups, and then they would go through the workshop individually and get together in groups and discuss the material. Well, all of that material is on this app. There are 6 recordings of Landon, and he does a 15-minute, which you can download the app and you can go to lesson number 1 and hear Landon give his 15-minute talk on the first topic. And then there's a workbook right on the app, and you can go through it. And there are a couple of different ways you can go through it. You can read through the workbook and then write in your own personal journal that you have for yourself, or there's a digital journal that you can actually fill out on the app. And so there are 6 lessons, and these can be used by an individual. They can be used in a group, a small group, or a group of any size. Does that pretty much cover it, Eric?
Yeah, Hawk, anything to add there?
What's that?
Is Hawkins with us?
Yeah, he's there.
You got anything? You got anything to add, Michael? So
You're on mute. You're on mute, Hawk. If you want to say anything, just to know. Well, he's typing.
So the next entry in the app world, this app will house multiple courses. Eventually, the next course that will be added will be the Feeling Good About Yourself course, unless you guys have changed your minds on that, and that'll come sometime later this year.
And Eric, just to clarify on this is like my app for Bank of America or whatever bank I have. I can go on my phone and do this, and I can go on my laptop the next day. Then I can pick up, my iPad or whatever it is, and I could just go from device to device and it's always there. That's right, correct?
Yes, yeah. If you're kind of if you're in the app world and you know your way around, if you go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, search for This Is Heartbeat, and you'll find this app, download it, goes onto your mobile device, and you're good to go. If you don't have a mobile device or you'd prefer using it on your laptop or your desktop, you can use this link right here on the website to access a desktop version. But yeah, everything it works just like any app that you're familiar with, and hopefully better than some apps we're familiar with. Any other questions about the app? If you haven't downloaded it, hit one of the appropriate app store, download. And I I hate to do a commercial, but I'll do it anyway. Uh, when you download the app, rate it, give a review if you're so moved. These matter, ratings and reviews matter because number one, the stores, the platforms use ratings and reviews to begin to look at who they might push the app to. It just makes it a little bit more accessible to people who are really looking for the material. And then obviously, if there's a review there, people can find out a little bit more about what's in the app from someone other than those of us who produced it.
You know, Eric, for this year, so I know you spent a lot of time this year creating the app and getting that platform set up while Jeff and Hawk were working on getting the content relevant. But just now, as other courses come out, they should be able to be added easier and more quickly, right, than before because you have the framework. I think that's what we're planning, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say to the group, I mean, if we got one done in 24. Well, we're hoping to do several in 25. And there's about 4 or 5 courses that Landon developed that we think are available to translate and interpret and put on there. And then, this is great news, then we want to get other courses and other creators and other things that would be consistent and fit to create a platform here that addresses the themes and is consistent, doesn't violate anything, but to expand what's there. So we'd like to create this as almost like a little personal library.
And Tim, do you feel like sharing anything? I know Tim's already got a group together. They've used the app, had one
Yep.
meeting.
I'd be happy to share. Last Saturday morning, we had our first gathering. We had 14 people, and it was a very diverse group. We had diverse race, diverse ages, diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, and from different industries, from students as young as 17 up to as old as 71. Yours truly. So the thing that we really enjoyed, it was watching these people come together, not really knowing any more than these people in these community workshops knew. You know, they had some reason to trust an invitation and then to take a chance and then to come and then find that, oh my gosh, this is really special. And so we are incredibly excited about what will happen, and we believe will happen organically. We planted the seed with everyone there to say you were handpicked because we believe that you could lead a group like this yourself if you want to. There's no pressure, there's no expectation. However, there's opportunity. And so when when Landon came, and I'll never forget, devoted, and they were kind of dedicating this library, the center, the Landon Saunders Center for Joy and Human Flourishing in Abilene. I remember Landon spoke, and he said, "There's 4 things that we would hope that this center will focus on. And one is that a human being has inestimable value, unlimited value. 2 is that every day that we will strive to do no harm. Number 3, we should seek joy every day. Number 4, that we should gather in communities, regardless of how large or small, and talk about important matters of life. And that's really what these groups can do and are designed for. So I'm excited to be a part of it. I think that this will spread. I think everyone on this call has the opportunity to use this material in ways that will have profound impact on people that participate. And so I will give one, my late wife was impacted by this exact course, and she cites it as probably the most impactful thing she ever went through.
Well,
Thanks,
Eric,
Tim.
we're getting down to where we have 1 or 2 minutes to hit our 7:30. So I think we want to give people a chance to walk off. Then we can
Yep.
stay around and talk about questions. So thanks so much. I want to tell in front of everyone, Eric has been magnificent in the work he's done. It's amazing. Jeff and Hawk deserve a lot of credit for this as well. I'm really thankful for that. We're just trying to get these tools out. But Eric, anything else you want to say as we kind of end this?
No,
And
I think
questions after that. Yeah.
no. Go with questions.
Yeah. And so what questions do you have? How to use this, what to do with it? What else is out there? You don't have to have questions. It's interesting. Well, this is, as I said, kind of started on this with most of us have in one way, either all of us directly or indirectly were impacted by Landon. Oh, this is the guide. Yeah. You'll get this, this email to you, right? Eric, you flip this up?
We'll email this to everyone, and it's in a PDF format. You can print it, you can keep it on your device, but it goes through from the website to it talks about radio, again, ideas on how to use the tools, the podcast, where to get it, how to get it, ways to use it, suggestions on way to use, and these are immature suggestions. Be creative. You'll figure out great ways to use the material.
And you could share this with someone too. You could share this with friends.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, Eric, Terry Rodriguez asked, how do we leave a review on the app when at the store?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Terry, I believe there is if you're inside the App Store, I believe there is a spot specifically where you can rate it like they lure you in with, I think, a star rating. How many stars would you give it? And then you'll have an opportunity typically to leave a review. I'll double check that afterwards and after we get off. And if that's not exactly, I'm just drawing a blank. If that's not exactly right, we'll get you information on how to do it. But inside the App Store, on the page where you download the app, there should be an option to rate and review. And the podcast as well, by the way.
So next month, so we're trying to cover this, be brief, not take the whole night, but I'm actually excited to get past the first 3 months. I'm thrilled to share what we're doing here on the website and the app. I'm thrilled to hear what's going on at ACU. I'm thrilled to talk about what Ross is doing on curriculum. But for me personally, I want to get to the discussions where we talk about human value and dealing with difficult relationships like I am to most people. Talk about, just how to enjoy the struggles of life in a different way, like Landon did for us. He framed things. And I think this group can maybe help, and we can expand this group to have those kind of discussions. So that's part of the intent. But so 2 people on the call, James Weiser and Claire, are with us. And just either one of you want to share anything about, just give us 30 seconds or 1 minute about the Saunders Center, just to give us a little taste of what's going to come. You could be the amuse-bouche tonight.
I am going to brag on Claire. I don't know if Claire's phone is the audio. Brant was texting me pedantic things about how we need to get her a better computer earlier this evening, which is true. But Claire spoke to the all faculty chapel this morning at ACU, And I was asked by our provost at the end. I have a every other week one-on-one with her, and she asked me at the end of December, "Is there anything Claire can't do?" And I said, "No, no." So it's been a true joy to see Claire hit the ground running at ACU and to see students react to Claire like so many of us reacted to Landon the first time we met Landon. And so I've always said Claire is going to be different than Landon, but the impact is going to be the same. And so next month we want to go. We'll bore you to tears with all kinds of things. I'll word cloud some of this. It'll include things like, let's see, Rome, wine, conferences, nap pods, Phil Schubert. And you'll
Doesn't
have
get
to
better than that, James. You're right. It doesn't
you'll
get
have to
better.
tune in next month to hear the whole.
Can
to
you hear me,
hear-
James?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Claire.
Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm talking through
Yeah.
my phone.
Then I'm going to shut up.
I'm really excited too about our Things That Really Matter luncheons that are starting next month. So we've got 10 faculty people signed up for that, and each faculty person is going to bring 2 students that they are mentoring to lunch, and we're going to sit around a table and have a meal like Landon would have done and talk about things that really matter. And our first subject will be joy, which pulling from Richard Beck's book. He'll be our first facilitator, and then we'll kind of gauge the students of topics that they want to explore more deeply in the subsequent lunches. So I'm excited about that too.
That's good. And there's going to be something you may want to put on your calendar for next year at ACU, an event that I think is going to be one of Landon's close friends and somebody he went to talk about these things with. So a very close friend of Landon that's going to be coming to ACU that you'll hear about that too. So I'm excited. It's exceptional, just exceptional. The word I'll give you. So I want to thank all of you. I some of you I've known for decades, and a few more recently, and many of you have blessed my life personally. I'm thankful for that in deep ways. If any of us can do anything for you, let us know. We're trying to be a community of people for each other. Okay, so. And I'll say goodbye. And unless you just want, we can sit around and chat if you want to, but we have nothing else to say that's important or official. Maybe we have other stuff important, but not official.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You bet.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jimmy. I'll try
Thank
to
you,
figure
Brant.
out. Branta told Jimmy that I had a dream a couple of weeks ago. I was sick, and so I was taking NyQuil, and I dreamed that this wasn't the point of the dream, but Jimmy and Andy Cohn were becoming Episcopal priests.
Oh, that's good.
So, by the way, this is being recorded, so that's sort of interesting. But my mother had a brain aneurysm in '97, and as she was coming out of the aneurysm, she was saying unusual things that what happens when you have a brain injury. But one of the first things she said that actually was a complete sentence is, "I think the Episcopalians have more fun." So maybe
That's why I married one.
Oh,
maybe it's time for Andy to have more fun.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was one of those strange things where you aren't the main character in the dream. Not that, I mean, I wish I had dreams in which you and Andy were, because you just certainly deserve it. But anyway, I'll drink some more NyQuil, and maybe I'll have, like I said in the chat, a little more revelation about the specifics of why you're a priest now.
Some people might sip whiskey, but you seem to sip NyQuil.
I'm a Church of Christ member.
There's somebody else. Pretty funny. Oh,
Yeah.
my. Oh,
Also
well.
known as the Whiskapalians, right?
Oh,
Right.
that's good.
My husband's mother always gave her priest a nice bottle of Kentucky bourbon for Christmas. That was the practice.
There you go. Good. It's pretty funny. Oh, that's good.
Great seeing all you guys.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Great being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Yes,
guys.
I know.
Hi, y'all. Somehow I muted my picture and I don't know how, but I can't come back.
Oh, you're there, June. Now we hear you.
We see you.
Well, I had muted my voice, but I didn't mean to mute my photo. But now I can't figure out how to unmute me. I guess I'm a Luddite.
You're a Luddite. I don't think you're anything but that. Anything but that. That's pretty funny.
All right. Bye,
All right.
y'all.
You guys take
Bye.
care.
Night all.
Bye.
Night. Thank you, guys. Great meeting, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.